Greetings, I'm John the Spirit, we've got some wood to make, and welcome to Factorio Pyanodons Supershorts. Soil, which is wondrously easy to get, can be made into biomass before we get composting. And biomass can be made into carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is used for the moss, which is required for tree seedlings. So while we finish researching this, let's do some calculations to figure out how to get enough wood for these cellulose high-pressure furnaces. Since we need 31.5 wood per minute, and this wood factory I've created creates 160 items per minute from one soil extractor and one solid separator, we should be quite fine with one solid separator and one soil extractor. We'll start making our wood factory here. 2 moss farms, a solid separator, and a soil extractor supply 3 botanical nurseries, 8 fastwood forestries, and 5 wood processing units. To get these fastwood forestries I need engine units, which can only be crafted by assembling machines. I'm just going to surround this random power pole in 4 engine unit machines. Now they're steadily processing 24 engine units for my 8 fastwood forestries, 4 wood processing units, and now I have so much tin that I need space for my inventory. 3 botanical nurseries, 2 moss farms, a soil extractor, a solid separator, a high pressure furnace, and an assembling machine, which I already have, and now 8 fastwood forestries. Now researching aluminium processing so I can get Duralumin. Tree seedlings will enter these fastwood forestries from the left and the right side, while the logs will exit down the middle. However, to run the fastwood forestries, we need trees, so I'm going to be switching all of these to be running trees. These botanical nurseries will produce tree seedlings that I'll plop onto this conveyor belt, while these 2 moss farms will run using stone and carbon dioxide. To get the stone, I'm going to use robots. Always remember to place your roboports before you make a factory setup, just in case something like this almost happens. Now I'm researching the crusher. Wood will be prioritized by this splitter to enter this tree seed maker, and the tree seeds will be spit out onto the belt for the tree seedlings. Tucked into the setup, soil will be pulled out by chutes into the solid separator, whereas this splitter will prioritize biomass coming out of the solid separator into the carbon dioxide high-pressure furnace. Excuse me, while I edit that horrible system, let's start using oil industry machinery so that I can get free water from pump jacks. Never mind about editing the setup, I was worried that if the biomass got clogged up because the wood wasn't being completely used, then this solid separator would just keep running and start filling up this steel chest with a bunch of biomass. But if the wood is constantly running, which I realize it will not be, the solid separator's output of biomass will almost be completely used, so we'll always get a little bit of excess, but it's okay. Without filter inserters, there's really no good way to extract only the sand, coarse fraction, and limestone from one side of the solid separator, and only the biomass from the other. Not even a clever destructive distillation column trick will do it. Very sad. Water is hooked up to an offshore pump. The logs from the fastwood forestries will come around and up to the wood processing units. And now it's time to place down an oodle of inserters and power poles. You can see that in lieu of trees, these fastwood forestries are extremely slow. Unfortunately, it's going to take 5 minutes for these fastwood forestries to do their thing, but over time they'll get faster. As I wait patiently, now to research biotechnology so I can get composting and immediately replace this system with a better one. As another side project, I have placed down a burner in my gasifier section, and I've reversed my chute of ash to be pouring into the burner, and the ash formed by the burner is being pulled out to be burned in the burner. It's what I'd like to call a very efficient system. Now that all the trees are supplied, we're making roughly 35 logs per minute, which will now be put into the log processing system. Apparently the logs have a variety of textures. How nice! The excess wood not turned into tree seedlings will be piped into a passive provider chest. Now to research composting. Big sad, this seaweed farm is in the way of my roboport. Easy fix, put the roboport in a terrible position, and then do nothing else. While we wait for composting so we can design a new forestry system, we should set up Duralumin infrastructure, which requires us to get a smelter, which requires us to get ceramic. To make ceramic, we need to research electronics, which is pretty quick. Coke from my destructive distillation towers was clogging up my system, so I couldn't get out any of the iron oxide, which was making this destructive distillation column clog up, so the rest of my system wasn't running, but now I'm plugging coke in on priority into this passive provider chest. To make ceramics, we need a high pressure furnace using coke and clay. To make clay, we need steam. In a clay pit, I'm not sure why it's not showing up on my ingredient list. I'm bootstrapping a temporary system here because once I get 100 clay, I'll be able to get my first smelter. This quick and dirty system will actually automatically create ceramics by using a boiler and a high-pressure furnace connected to a requester chest for coke to put the coke into the high-pressure furnace in the boiler, and then the boiler will make steam and put it into the clay pit. And watch it go, it's all pouring into the ceramic maker, which I'll stock up with all the rest of the clay. While we wait for that, remember that the smelter requires liquid fuel, for which I will just use our convenient tar. It's not very much, we'll need more. We can now make one smelter. It is a very large object. Fuel goes here. And now all I have to do is slap down 2 aluminum for every 1 copper. It looks like it's using it what is called very fast. It is using the tar reasonably quickly, but compost plants are not that often required. If need be, I can destructive distillate some wood into coal and get coal gas and tar out of it at an actually reasonable rate. Wood and coal have the same destructive distillation ratios. In fact, 1 wood destructive distillation tower will go directly into 1 coal destructive distillation tower at a perfect 1:1 ratio. That is what is called, in the language of my people, very mathematically pleasing. Another thing worth noting is that we are approaching maximum power production, so a tree farm will help us because we can destructive distillate wood into, again, tar and coal gas, turn the tar and coal gas into syngas, and fuel combustion plants with it. That, or we can just use hydrogen, which is actually also a pretty good deal, since hydrogen can be made with a very low amount of energy using just water. In the next episode, we probably want to switch to our better wood system, which uses wood to make biomass instead of soil separation. You may be saying, Jonathan, it seems like these 2 systems use basically the same materials, except that one system uses a compost plant and the other uses the soil separators. Why would you use the hassle of making an entire compost plant for every wood system? The answer to that is that this system has a lot of byproducts that I don't really know what to do with, and I'm not in the business of using ammo to shoot things down, so I don't exactly want to make 123 sand a minute, 28.4 coarse fractions per minute, and 80.96 limestone per minute. You can see that this is already very problematic. So it is in my interest to get rid of the solid separator and soil extractor as soon as possible, and replace them with a compost plant, which will probably be used for a ton of different wood systems, so maybe I'll make this like line up vertically or something. With composting complete, we'll wrap up this episode by replacing this system with compost, while researching copper processing. To make the compost plant, we do need engine units. I could definitely benefit from an automatic system to make engine units, but I want better metal processing first, so don't mind me. This compost plant will make biomass for as much of our facility as possible. As you can see, biomass is already pouring into this chest. I've limited it so it doesn't make way too much. 5 wood makes 30 biomass. Now we can simply request biomass with this requester chest and it'll fill up this carbon dioxide producer again. Now this system is pretty easily reproducible. I can just copy it down wherever I want and the power of robots will take all the wood to the compost plant and all the compost everywhere it needs to be. So for now, that's it for today's episode. In the next episode, we'll work on an improved power plant and then start working on improved metal processing. And eventually, the slow plod towards simple circuit boards. As always, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. Comments and likes may help me in the algorithm. I hope you enjoyed, and God bless you all.